Welcome to another episode of Karina Life. This is another segment whereby we'll be taking a look at some of the leading headlines in Zimbabwe. My apologies for the worst voice. I'll try my best and I hope you'll be able to hear me fluently. I woke up this morning to cause text messages about people, Zimbabweans, especially in diaspora, who are concerned about some videos which has been going rounds, I think mostly yesterday on social media. These videos are about a white farmer in Banket. Banket is where in Marsh West. And this white farmer, and I think one of them was Annette, who was complaining and trying to highlight the situation. First and foremost, I'm one person who doesn't support any illegal activities. I don't support thuggery. I don't support any kind of corruption. I don't support anything that can bring misery upon our citizens or our people. But in this instance, about this Banket farmer who appear, as I listened to some of the video clips, he appeared very disrespectful to those people who were looting or whatever they want to call it in their farm. What we should understand as Zimbabweans is that we should condemn anything like thuggery, stealing. We should condemn that. But it brings us back to the question of land reform in Zimbabwe. Land reform in Zimbabwe. So, some people, you might condemn it. I'm looking at this situation with an objective mind. I'm looking at the situation of the farmer, and I'm looking at those people who were stealing the potatoes. I wouldn't say stealing. I think people were reaping what they feel. They are supposed to be the main owners of land in Zimbabwe, and whereby they've become so desperate that they do not have farms. Yet some people have got farms. And it's not about just white farmers in Zimbabwe. We also have people who own farms, black people who own farms, who are failing to utilize them. And then we also have white farms who feel so entitled that they have land as if they're doing us a favor. I have to just tell those white farmers with their mentality, especially from the tone of what I was hearing from that white farmer. I don't know your name, sir, but I heard some of your derogatory comments about those people who were looting your farm. Let me be honest with you. It is unfortunate that people are coming to loot your farm, and you are one of the recipients of that kind of behavior. And I won't be surprised that if it's starting in Marsh West, it might be mushroom around the country. And do I blame these people stealing? To some extent, no, I empathize with them. As a black farmer, as a black person, as a black Zimbabwe, I do not have a farm. And we've got some white people who are so entitled. We saw what happened when Mnangagwa came into power. Who supported the coup? Who supported Edith's rise? It was Catriona Lang. He supported the coup not because he had the black people's interest in that. Catriona Lang and the British people, they supported the coup because all they wanted was to avenge the land reform. It was all about white farmers getting back the farms and getting compensation. Why would a white farmer feel so entitled that he's losing land in Zimbabwe? When we look back at the pioneer column, those people, their ancestors, when they were shipped by Queen Victoria, because they were mercenaries, that's why they referred them. They were called mercenaries. They were not called migrants. They were not called expatriates like they try to do now. Those people who were leading the pioneer column were called mercenaries. Why were they called mercenaries? Because they were societal outcasts. They were problematic to the existence of normal law-abiding citizens of Victorian England, Scotland, or wherever, maybe in Ireland. So these were criminals. That is the reason why Africa, we've got a problem with these white farmers and their entitlement, because their ancestors were unwanted in England. That's why they were shipped, because they were unwanted to serve their prison terms across in Africa, in Australia, or wherever in New Zealand. So these people, because they know that from their own history, they were societal outcasts, unwanted in the communities, because they were regarded as untamed in Victorian times. They were shipped to do the dirty work for the Queen Victoria, whether it was in Africa, whether it was in Australia. That's why you find those people who even call themselves Rhodesian worldwide, they are so bitter. They can't integrate with fellow black Zimbabweans because they've got this entitlement. When Emerson Mnangagwa was doing the coup, he was supported mostly because it was bent on giving back our land to white farmers at the expense of those people who had gained during the land reform of Mugabe. And Emerson Mnangagwa in this Second Republic, we saw them. He was even with his that shrew of his that Arikana Chiumbori, that it was okay to compensate white farmers. Did any mercenary left England, Victorian England, with any inch of land when they were crossing the Atlantic into the Indian Ocean? Did any mercenary, whether it was the Mikus, whether it was whoever, whether it was the Avondale people, did they left any place in England, in Scotland, with an inch of land which they carry from England as a jigsaw to fit in the map of Zimbabwe? No, they didn't, but they've got so much entitlement. One person will be having 600 hectares of land, and black Zimbabweans, they do not have land. They are living on poor land. They are in this drought, in this era where Zimbabwe is dysfunctional. There's hunger. There are no jobs. There's no hope for the people of Zimbabwe. The people of Zimbabwe fought for land, but they do not have land. And we have white farmers in Banket calling our people names. Yes, of course, they might have been stealing. Maybe if you want to look at the history of this white farmer in Banket, maybe it's got a bad reputation of beating up workers, underpaying workers, and so people, they are fed up of him. So what do they? They say, well, you pay us back by stealing his crops. We saw how entitled these white farmers were. They were demanding the land back as if they brought any inch of land from across the Atlantic as they crossed into Indian Ocean. We saw them that they were even demanding compensation on land which they never brought, their ancestors never brought into Zimbabwe. They are so entitled, these people. They think that the most qualifying pigs of Zimbabwe, and we should condemn it. It is Emerson Mnangagwa who was angered by the same white farmers, because they didn't want Mugabe and his government, because they were for the indigenization of the economy. And what did Emerson Mnangagwa do to the indigenization of Zimbabwe? Where is indigenization? Does he talk about it? It's all about those white farmers, white foreign investors, not even investors, but looters, taking from Zimbabwean people. So if you ask me, say, the owner of Banket Farm, how many hectares of land do you have? How much do you pay your workers? How much are you giving back to the community of Banket? Have you ever built any roads? Have you ever built any school? Have you ever built a clinic? What are you giving back to the people of Zimbabwe in the community of Banket? I could hear from your tone, you are not a very nice person. You are not a very white person. You are still a stuck-up who think that having white skin is a threshold barometer whereby you are much better than every citizen. How much land do you have said? How big is your land? How big is your farm in Banket? I do not blame those people. And I want to see this thing happening. From Banket, it has to cross from Marsh West into Mashonale Central, Mash East, wherever it's going to go. Because these white farmers with their entitlement, they are the ones who were funding Emerson Mnangagwa's rice. So, say in Banket, I will tell you the honest truth. I'll say to you, my dear, let those potato thieves swallow you whole. And I can tell you this, may you eat your vomit. Because I'm very sure you are one of those farmers who were demanding more after the Second Republic of Emerson Mnangagwa. You were even demanding compensation on our land at the expense of our Zimbabweans who do not have any clinics, education, no functional economy, nothing. What are you giving back to the community of Banket? What are you giving back to the community? You can't just be looting, using people, underpaying them, or overworking them long hours. What are you giving them back? If the people are looting your farm, it's a wake-up call. You need to meet with the community. You need to understand. You need to listen to them. It is not all about you white farmers. Every Zimbabwean is equal. Every Zimbabwean needs a land of some sort. You can't just come and feel entitled because you've got white skin and you feel you're the very best. After all, white farmers, you do not do the farming. You only have the capital. And the capital, you use our black people. Our black people are the real farmers. So stop you overrating yourself to say that I'm a white farmer, I'm a white farmer. Get from your high horse and look at the people of Zimbabwe who are suffering. Engage them. If they are stealing your farm, I want to understand, why did they target your farm? There should be a story behind. All those white people who are notorious and are known in the communities, in the provinces, for ill-treating people, underpaying people, overworking people for long hours, I can honestly tell you that you deserve what is coming your way. Because you have ill-treated people, those people who work on your farms for a long time. You have underpaid them. The unions are not the unions are not standing for the workers. They are in your favor. So don't come on social media and try to do crocodile tears. You've been reaping what you did not sow for a long time. So it is time. It's time now. What you sow, you must repeat. Because you cannot keep on taking advantage of your farm workers. And those people, if they are hungry and they see that your farm, you're an evil man, you're an evil farmer who is not giving back to the community, no schools, you don't support anything that is beneficial to the people in the community, even your farm workers, their children, then blame it yourself. Because why should the local community people be loyal to you? Are you loyal to them, or you're just greedy about looting the land, about looting everything? Let Emerson Mnangagwa hear this, and let it happen to many white farmers. You are the very people who supported this coup because of your entitlement. And now I'll tell you this. Being white in Zimbabwe is not entitlement to privileges. Every Zimbabwean has a right for privileges. Every Zimbabwean must reach their full potential. It is not about you being white, blue, yellow, black. It should be an equal Zimbabwe for everyone. But the moment white Zimbabwean farmers try to classify yourself as the most qualifying pigs of our nation, some of us we are not shamed to come and call you out for your open racism. And it's not time that any person, maybe you think you are white in Africa, you think you are anything better. No, you are nothing better than a black person. Most black people in Zimbabwe, they are educated, they've well-traveled, they are not ignorant. But at the end of the day, because you think everybody is scared that you're a white person, we are not scared of white people in Zimbabwe. I myself. So white farmers of Zimbabwe is either you go back on the drawing board, you reflect on your conduct, how you are treating your farm workers, how you are treating the communities with your entitlement. If your farms are being looted of your crops, deal with it. You supported the most corrupt person, Emerson Mnangagwa, who is not giving anything back to the communities. And the people of Zimbabwe knows that white farmers, you are the ones who were supporting Emerson Mnangagwa. So you must feed the nation. That's the purpose of farmers. You must feed the nation. It must not be about you making money at the expense of the people. How do you expect your workers to work when they are on an empty stomach? So this is what I have to say. You are the very problem in Zimbabwe white farmers, because you feel entitled. That's why you are supporting ED. You are supporting ED because you know that land doesn't belong to you. But ED is the sellout of Zimbabweans, black Zimbabweans, willing to give you that land for free. That's why you support Emerson Mnangagwa. The clock is ticking. It's either you are going to give that land back to Zimbabweans, where you went and you drove some of the black farmers away, or let the Zimbabweans come and reap your crops. Every Zimbabwean is got an empty stomach. And you are the very people who is supporting a corrupt government. So for white farmers in Zimbabwe, as long as you are supporting Emerson Mnangagwa, let the people of Zimbabwe come and harvest freely from your farms. Until then, this is all I have to tell you. And also, we have seen how the ZIG has been going down, and we honestly don't know what it is doing. Like, they tell us that they only have 1.8 tons of gold, which is shocking, because Zimbabwe is producing tons and tons and tons. They should have been telling us that they've got reserves for about maybe 300-400 tons, but what do they have? ED is just a dangerous man to our country. The same ED who is buying the chiefs' cars, whereby the people of Zimbabwe have got nothing to eat, and is giving expensive cars to the chiefs because he wants chiefs to endorse him as a Munumutapa. He wants the chiefs to make sure that his 2030 agenda is a success. So if the white farmers are not seeing this, that ED is the problem, then you deserve that Zimbabweans will come to your farms and get food. That's all we can say. You've got the irrigation. You don't even want to share your irrigation with your local communities. You mistreat your farm workers. You underpay them. You make them work for long hours. Some of you are known for beating workers. So, at the end of the day, people are fed up. Zimbabweans have had it to the brim. If you are not going to wise up and you see what is happening, then I don't know what's coming your way. There's a notorious farmer in Mashwest who is well known for beating people. So I hope people will go to that farm as well and try to get whatever they can get. Until you farmers, you feel the pinch and you start condemning ED. You are supporting ED, minority white farmers holding to massive pieces of land. Yet ordinary black Zimbabweans, they do not have anything. So, fellow Zimbabweans, this is all I had to say tonight. And we can only pray for a miracle. And Mkanya Chiwenga is just gone quiet. People are suffering. No one is saying anything. Nobody is condemning anything what is going on. Corruption is rife. We saw Wikinochivayo bragging about a room costing £4,000 per night, and all these things are happening and nobody's talking about it. The case of Neville Mutswangwa is no updates because his father is part of Emerson Mnangagwa's regime. So as us, as a people, as a nation, what is next for everyone? So, Mr. White Farmer in Banket, it is unfortunate that you are the first victim. Expect more of these farm invadings whereby people will be reaping the crops. And until then, Zimbabwe, have a very good night and a happy, pleasant week ahead. from your lovely daughter of the soil. And to all my subscribers,